Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we are going to take a look at 7 words that come up very often in everyday intermediate English. First, let's talk about the word acquire. To acquire something means to get something or make something yours. It's not just buying, it can mean learning something or slowly getting something over time. For example, when you study hard every day, you acquire new skills. Native speakers use this word in everyday situations like, I've been trying to acquire better eating habits, or she acquired a lot of experience working at that company for 5 years. Next, we have adore. To adore something or someone means to love it very, very much more than just like. It has a warm, strong feeling to it. You might say, I adore my morning coffee, or he absolutely adores his little sister. Native speakers use this word when they want to express deep affection, often in a sweet and gentle way. Now let's look at advocate. To advocate means to strongly support an idea or to speak up for something you believe in. If you think something is important and you tell other people about it, you are advocating for it. For example, she advocates for better health care for everyone. Or, he always advocates for giving people a second chance. Moving on to afford. To afford something means to have enough money or time to do something. If you can afford it, you are able to do it without a problem. Native speakers say things like, I can't afford a new car right now, or we couldn't afford to waste any more time on that project. Next is aggravate. To aggravate means to make a situation worse, or to really annoy someone. When something is already bad and it becomes even worse, it has been aggravated. People say, stop doing that, you're aggravating me. Or, the cold weather aggravated his knee injury. It's a word you'll hear a lot when people are frustrated. Now, allocate. To allocate means to decide to use something like time, money, or people for a specific purpose. It's about giving things to the right place. For example, the company allocated more money to the marketing team. Or, we need to allocate at least 2 hours a day for practice. And finally, anticipate. To anticipate means to expect something to happen before it actually happens. When you anticipate something, you are thinking ahead. Native speakers use it like this. I didn't anticipate how difficult the project would be. Or, she always anticipates problems before they happen, which makes her a great manager. So now you have a good feeling for all 7 words: acquire, adore, advocate, afford, aggravate, allocate, and anticipate. Let's finish by seeing how all these words come together naturally in a conversation. Now let's listen to a dialogue that includes all 7 words we learned today.
So, I finally decided to acquire a new skill. I signed up for a cooking class last week.
Oh, that sounds fun. What made you want to do that?
Well, I adore good food, but I never really learned how to cook properly. I thought it was time to change that.
That makes sense. Was the class expensive? Could you afford it?
It was not too bad. I had to think about how to allocate my monthly budget, though. I moved some money from my entertainment fund to cover it.
Smart thinking. How is the class going so far?
Honestly, it is going well. But I did not anticipate how much prep work there is. Chopping vegetables, measuring everything, cleaning up after it takes so much time.
Yes. Cooking is a lot more work than it looks. Does that aggravate you, or are you enjoying it anyway?
A little of both, honestly. Sometimes the mess aggravates me, but when the food turns out well, I forget about all of that.
I totally get that. Do you think you will keep going after the class ends?
I think so. I also want to advocate for more people taking cooking classes. A lot of people eat out too much because they just do not know how to cook simple meals at home.
That is so true. Eating out all the time gets really expensive too.
Exactly. If you allocate even a small amount of time each week to cooking, you can save a lot of money and eat much healthier.
I have been thinking about trying it myself, actually. I adore the idea of making my own meals, but I always feel like I do not have enough time.
I felt the same way before. But once you start, you find ways to make it work. You just have to anticipate that the first few weeks will feel a bit overwhelming.
That is helpful to know. Did the class teach you anything surprising?
Yes, actually. I did not anticipate learning so much about where ingredients come from. The teacher talks a lot about local farms and fresh produce. She really advocates for buying local food when you can.
That is interesting. Do you think that made a difference in the taste?
Absolutely. Fresh ingredients just taste so much better. Once you try it, it is hard to go back to packaged stuff.
I can imagine. So how do you allocate your time now? Do you cook every day?
Not every day, but I try to cook at least 4 times a week. I acquire new recipes from the class and practice them on weekends mostly.
What kind of dishes have you made so far?
I started with simple pasta dishes, then moved on to soups and stews. Last weekend I made a roasted chicken and it turned out really well.
That sounds impressive. I adore roasted chicken. Do you think you could teach me sometime?
Of course. I would love that. Just be ready to chop a lot of vegetables.
I can handle that. I just hope I do not aggravate you with too many questions while we cook.
Not at all. Questions are good. That is how you learn and acquire new skills faster.
Good point. Maybe I should also sign up for a class. Do you think I should allocate some money for it this month?
If you can afford it, definitely go for it. I anticipate you will really enjoy it once you get started. It changes how you think about food completely.
All right, I think I will look into it this week. Thanks for sharing all of this.
Of course. And seriously, I advocate for anyone who is thinking about it, just sign up and give it a try. You will not regret it.